Hey guys, it's Sarah. Today I'm going to be doing my first solo video. Woo! And I'm going to be doing book recommendations because I just love reading and being taken to a new world and being able to live in their shoes. It's amazing. So my first book is If I Stay by Gale Foreman. It's about a girl named Mia, and she feels like she's different. Like, her parents are like big into rock music, and so is her boyfriend, and yet she plays the cello, so she's kind of a outcast, she feels. But she gets this amazing boyfriend, and she has everything she wants. She might get into Juilliard, and then disaster strikes. She's in a car crash and she's having all of these memories flood back to her, and she doesn't know if she wants to stay or if she wants to die. And it's just amazing because you can kind of think about, like, what would you do in that situation? Would you stay or would you go? And it's very emotional and it's very powerful. So yeah, I recommend that one, and I know there is a sequel, but I have read some of it. I haven't gotten through it because there are books I have to read for school, so yeah. My next book is Goddess Boot Camp by Tera Lynn Childs. It's about a girl named Phoebe, and she finds out that she is a descendant of the goddess Nike, and that the reason her dad died was because he used some of his powers to get better at coaching football, and he never told her about it. But her mom marries another man, and he happens to run a school in this Grecian island, and it's for magical gods and goddesses, like the descendants of them, and she kind of has to embrace her power, which most people learn it at a young age, yet she's a teenager and still has to learn. And there's some things that go on, and she's forced to take this test, and she has to go to Goddess Boot Camp, or that's the nickname for it, and she's with all these little kids, and she feels out of place, but she finds things about herself that she probably wouldn't have if she didn't have this opportunity, and she learns a very big lesson, like struggling to do this test the right way, and you'll have to read to find out if she succeeds. My next book is Catching Fire, or the Hunger Games trilogy. This is just the one that I picked up. It's about a girl named Katniss Everdeen, and she lives in a dystopian era United States, except it's called Panem, and there are 12 districts. She lives in the 12th district, and there was an uprising years and years and years ago, so they created the Hunger Games, where they send 24 children that are from the 12 districts, a boy and a girl, to fight to the death. And Katniss's sister is picked to go in, so she volunteers for her, and it ends up starting this chain of events that she didn't even intend to happen. And that's why I love this book, because she didn't mean for it to happen. You don't intend for things to happen to you, they just do. When you do something, people are going to notice. People are going to stand up and possibly do the same thing, and I think it's just emotional, and it has like its ups and downs, and it's just very dramatic, and I love that about this book, so you should read it. My next book is Divergent. I am in love with this book because no, it is not like the Hunger Games. Yes, it is in a dystopian era, but it is about a completely different girl in a completely different place, and the plot is just completely different. It's about a girl named Tris Pryor. She lived in a faction called Abnegation, and they're supposed to be selfless. Although she doesn't feel that way. She feels like she is selfish rather than being good to people. Yes, she is a good person, but she doesn't feel that she can give up everything just to help someone else. So when they take their tests to determine where they're supposed to go, you're only supposed to get one answer, and yet she got 3. And during her ceremony where she's supposed to pick, she has some trouble because she doesn't know. The test was supposed to tell her where to go. And so she has these ups and downs in her new home, and it sets off this chain of events again, and it starts something huge that she didn't even realize was going on. She didn't think just by choosing that she would risk everyone she love's lives. And so that's why they call it Divergent, because since she had so many decisions, she's considered divergent because she is different. And I think the reason the author wrote this book is because you shouldn't be judged on one thing. You should be able to be yourself, and you should be able to be different things rather than just one. It's very emotional. And ask anybody who has read this book. It is incredibly emotional. It's sad. My next recommendation is If You're Reading This by Trent Reedy. Now, if you've heard the song If You're Reading This, it is kind of like that. It's about a 16-year-old boy named Mike whose father died in Iraq or Afghanistan. I can't remember. But he died when he was 8, and he just kind of feels lost without his dad because he wants to play football and he wants to do all these things, but his mom won't let him because she's afraid of losing him. So I'm sorry, I was thinking of the mom, but during his 16th birthday party, not his party, just his 16th birthday, he gets a letter, and it's from his dad, and it's telling him that if there's a chance that he wants to take, then he should take it, and if there's a girl that he likes, then he should go talk to her, go ask her out. And then there's take care of his mom and his sister, and that he has to step up and be the man in the house, and that he's not necessarily ready. He is so used to this sheltered life, and he has to go out and do all these things, and it's just amazing his journey through all of this and just what he accomplishes. So it's literally my favorite book, and I am a huge reader. It's not that long, as you can see, but it's a really good book. My next book is Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, and this is like the revised kind of like children's version, just because it's a lot shorter. So it's about this boy who doesn't really have a home. He goes around and he gets scraps from his friends, and I want to say it's about finding yourself, because he befriends this man who was a slave, and this takes place in like the 1960s, and they're trying to go and they're trying to find a place to fit in. So I think it's incredibly powerful. It's kind of, where will I ever fit in? Will I ever fit in? And I think that's just a really good book. Plus it's a classic, so you should read it. And my last recommendation is To Kill a Mockingbird. This is what I'm reading right now. I'm only like a little over a quarter of the way through the book, but it's a very good book. It's kind of about this girl who grew up in the 1960s Alabama, and it's a small town, and she's like 6 or 7 right now, and she's like trying to figure out what everything means. Like, her dad is being, I don't want to say persecuted, but he is being called some things that I don't really want to say because it's horrible. Like, people would never say things like that now, but it's amazing because she doesn't really understand it, and she's trying to figure it out, and she's trying to figure out how to kind of live in this small town with these people and everything that's kind of going on. So it's a really good book. It's about growing up, kinda, and trying to figure out what's going on in life. So yeah, you should. This is also a classic. It's To Kill a Mockingbird. I've heard there are a lot of life lessons in this book, and I've heard it's a really, really good book, so you should read it. And that was my last book. I will see you guys next Monday.